Hey everyone, welcome to my vintage studio space. Today's video is going to be really fun because we're actually going to be styling the shelves behind me. They are a hot mess. I have some very exciting projects coming up where I need the shelves behind me to look more streamlined and aesthetic rather than this disaster of stuff. These are working shelves. That's what I always tell myself when I look at them and feel the urge to style them, that these are actually shelves that are part of my business. My studio space is where I work, so it doesn't always need to look perfect, but for these videos that I need to shoot soon, it needs to look better than this. So today I thought I would take you along with me as I restyle those shelves. And I figured while I'm redecorating these shelves, I probably should show you what's on them. So this is a little bit of a show and tell too. There are things that I have on these shelves that you guys have never seen because I've never put them in a haul video. I have collections that I've never officially shown you. And I know you guys have always asked, like, can you show us all your collections? Because I've only shown you like my wicker animals and my hands and my Kakeshi dolls, and I have more collections than that, which probably doesn't surprise you. So I figure, why don't we show you some of those things today too? So I definitely have my work cut out for me today because this is just a hot mess. And I don't even know where I'm gonna put the stuff that's on them once I take things off. So that's also a little TBD. But because this is all you're gonna see in the videos that I'm gonna be filming soon, I don't have to focus on things that are below waistline. So that's where I'll put everything else. Everything will just be shoved there and hidden behind like my body and below my waist, and the rest of the stuff needs to look pretty. So anyways, we'll go through that whole process. So let's get styling. For this particular project, I wanna make sure that the shelves, represent my business and what I sell, and then also represent me as like a collector and as a stylist decorator. So a little bit more pressure, I feel like, a little bit more pressure. And so I have to kind of figure out like what is staying, what is going. These types of things are probably going. I'm gonna take off this dangly guy here, even though I really love him hanging because he's a monkey, but no, he's distracting, he needs to go. And then also like a lot of this stuff is kind of mishmash. So I wanna make sure I have a really strong brass moment in this space. I want a pottery moment. So I definitely wanna showcase one of my collections, so probably the hands maybe? Although I don't know if the hands are gonna be too distracting in my video. So we will see how it turns out. But anyways, this is kind of my thought process that I'm going through right now in terms of what I'm thinking to be pulling off and adding to the space. So I am not gonna make you watch me pull everything off the shelves, but I wanna highlight a few things as I'm getting started, and then the rest of the stuff I'm just gonna like pull off, snap my fingers, and then you guys are gonna see clear shelves. So that is the beauty of video editing. I can do that and not have to make you watch that whole painstaking process. But I do want to talk about a few things right now. So some of my most prized styling possessions, things that I use often when I do like a styling video, are knots and chains. They just really help fill up a space. And so these are some of the pieces that I absolutely love. I'm gonna remove these from the shelf because visually you can't see them. But these are some of my very favorite things that I use to style with. And then my absolute favorite book of all the books I own to style with is this one, because it has this amazing like linen neutral top, and I love the beige oatmeal color with the black writing. It's just, if you guys have seen me style in my videos, you know this is the workhorse. This is the one that I use a lot. So these like 3 here beige books, this guy as well, and then this one I actually got at a conference. They just have really beautiful colors and spines, and so they're perfect for styling. So that is something I use all the time. You guys will absolutely recognize those books. So I love to include candles in any styling project. You guys know this. And so I keep a ton around. Like these ones actually aren't vintage. They are from Crate & Barrel. They're older, so they're not like new Crate & Barrel, but these, very sculptural, love them. All my wood ones I use a lot, and I have a collection up here that I use all the time. I love these. These are ones that I won't get rid of because the colors on them are so perfect. More candle holders over here. I have some really fun like brass ones that I picked up recently that I absolutely adore. And so candle holders are something that I always have on hand. These are like part of my own personal collection that I love. And so I'm assuming I'm gonna do like a candle holder moment, because I know you guys know me for selling candle holders as well, especially sets of brass candle holders. So I feel like they need to be kind of represented on the shelves. So one of my newest collections is Staffordshire dogs. And this little cutie and its friend, I actually got from another reseller, Angela, and she has a YouTube channel. So if you are not watching her channel, you need to, because she picks up the most amazing old world things. She lives in the UK, so you can only imagine the stuff that she's picking up. And when I saw these in her feed on Instagram, I messaged her, and then I messaged my mother-in-law and said, they had to come home to me. And so my mother-in-law, bless her heart, she bought them for me from Angela, and then Angela packed them up and sent them my way. So this is my very first actual set of Staffordshire dogs. I have these two. This was my very first one that I got, and it was a singleton. I stood in line at an estate sale in hopes of just getting this little guy. And then I also found this one last summer, which is a little bit bigger. These are absolutely my newest favorite collection, and I tend to just focus on like the ginger colored ones. They make them in, they have like black fur, white fur. I mean, they're just a variety, but I really love the ginger ones. So I have a lot of pottery, as you guys know, but I wanted to highlight one of my most favorite pieces that I have gotten. And this was a gift from Blaine, the owner of Tiny Brambles, where I have my booth space. So the story behind this piece, I went into the shop in order to restock my booth, and I went up to the counter to chat with him for a second, and this was there. He had just brought it in, and I was like, oh my God, where did you find that? He's like, I made it. And I know like he does amazing pottery. And so I was like, you made that? I'm like, oh, it's absolutely beautiful. I mean, look at the green, the glaze, the shape. It's a weed pot, so it has this little hole. So I was just like, oh, I absolutely adore it. And then he's like, would you like it? And I was like, well, sure, but you don't have to give it to me. And he's like, no, it's a gift. So thank you, Blaine. Again, absolutely adore it. And so I came home and immediately put these dried teeny tiny flowers in it. It just brings me so much joy looking at it because obviously my friend made it, and then also because it is a beautiful piece. He makes really beautiful, organic, very mid-century pottery. He's very talented. So I'll put some like video and pictures on the screen of some of the other stuff. So he always has pieces like coming out of the kiln and making its way into the shop. And so he's a lot of dedicated buyers who really like his stuff. And so if you see anything you like, you know, feel free to reach out to him on Instagram or message me and I can connect you. But yeah, his pottery is really beautiful, and I'm so excited that I actually have one of his pieces in my collection. So the last two collections I want to show you before I like snap my fingers and all of this chaos disappears is my mini art collection and my mini pottery collection. My mini art collection brings me so much joy. I have it just in a teeny tiny corner by my door to my office. So every time I exit, I see it. And that was kind of by design. It's just like this blank space, but also I wanted to feel excited and happy every time I looked at it. And I wanted to be able to look at it often. And so having it by my door was where I decided to put it. And so it's a combination of art that I've done and art that I have collected, whether it's in Europe or at markets, estate sales, you name it. So it's definitely like a whole mix of things that I've picked up, all very inexpensive. One of my favorite pieces actually is the one I did myself, which is a watercolor of a Staffordshire dog. And then one of my other favorite things that I have on that wall is the little painted mushroom plaque that I got from one of you guys, Jessica. So if you're out there, Jessica, thank you so much for sending that to me. It's just, I love including that into my gallery wall because it's just a reminder of, you know, you guys are out there and you're watching me and you are supporting me and excited about what I'm doing. And that's just like seeing that on the wall reminds me of why I do this on days where I'm just like, I don't want to film a video. And so it just drives me to work through those moments. So Jessica, thank you so much for sending that to me. I have it on my wall. I adore it. It brings me joy every time I look at it. So the final collection I want to show you is my mini pottery collection. And it's made even cuter because I found like a dollhouse little bookshelf at an estate sale. And when I saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is the perfect way to display my little mini pottery collection. And so I purchased that, and so now the little pots are on that, and they just look so cute, and they're not really arranged or styled in any particular way, and they're definitely an eclectic mix because I just don't find mini pots that often, especially the Native American ones, which are my favorite. They can be so expensive, and I'm always looking for them, but I very rarely find them at a price point that I want. But that little shelf of mini pots makes me so excited. Okay, so those are the pieces I kind of wanted to highlight on my shelves before I snap my fingers and everything is gone. Okay, so 3, 2, 1. Okay, so I hope that transition made sense. I've never done a snap transition before. Okay, so these are the empty shelves. Now the positioning of the shelves I can't change. They are absolutely fixed. And then you may not be able to see it on camera, but right here in the center I have where this piece is actually like drilled into the wall. So I don't know if you know this about Oregon, but we're expecting the big one, as we call it, the most massive earthquake ever to happen at any moment, basically. And so you have to have your stuff, you know, secured to the wall so it doesn't, you know, fall on top of you and die during the big one. Sorry, that got bleak, didn't it? That got dark. This is how they're looking blank. And so now I need to figure out like where I'm placing what, and that is the tricky part right now. That is the fun part and also the tricky part. So let's get styling. Okay, so I'm not loving it. Not loving it. Love the hands, not loving the pottery. I think it's because it's just too much of a mishmash of styles and colors. And that's because I pick up a very eclectic mix of stuff. So I'm not sure how I'm feeling about the pottery. So I think I'm gonna have to, I think my idea of styling like with like having a shelf dedicated to just pottery, just candle holders, just those types of objects, doesn't necessarily make sense. Like my hand collection makes sense because it's a collection of hands, but they're all similar, where I feel like, I don't know, I'm not loving it. So I may just have to actually just pick a color story and just style them how I would if I was like decorating a home versus for business. Oh, this is the hard part. Okay, so I think I need to regroup and take those away and just style like I would style them up just to be pretty in my office space, like how I would dream style these shelves if they were just for me. And I'm hoping in doing that, it will make sense for the video in the backdrop. Okay, you guys, so it is like a week or more later from when you saw me trying to style like the pottery in this shelf right here. I basically, after I saw that and I was like, oh man, I think I'm just gonna have to style these shelves. I basically had like a mental breakdown. Not really, not that serious, but I was like, oh my goodness, this is just not working. And I thought, okay, maybe it's just that I need to kind of sit with the process a little bit and then I can come at it fresh. And so here I am, a week or so later, I have ruminated on it more, thought about it more, and I have a strategy now. So I have just pulled everything out of like my storage area and my own personal stuff that I just really love and adore, that I feel like color-wise will go together. And then that's what I'm gonna put on these shelves. So we're gonna style those right now using all of the stuff that I have pulled out. And I'm hoping now in this process, something will come together and it'll look good and it'll be something I'm comfortable with and representative of what I sell and then what I collect and just me as, you know, like a vintage dealer. So fingers crossed, because this process has not been easy for me. I think it's just, I don't know. I feel like when I'm styling for someone else, it's just easier for me because I can take myself out of it. But as soon as I do anything for myself, I tend to overthink it because it's just so personal to me. And especially if I feel like it needs to represent me, then the pressure is even more. I don't know if that makes sense. But anyways, I have a bunch of amazing things and I'm gonna get styling now and see if I can come up with something that looks really great. So when I start styling shelves, I always start with the art, because to me the art is the most important thing to put on a shelf, because it is really the heart and soul, I feel like, of decor. Now this particular piece of art is actually a public domain piece. So because I had to focus on using artwork that either I created or was copyright free for the shelf styling that I'm doing for this specific project, I went into the public domain and found some really beautiful vintage and antique pieces of art that were now available in the public domain. That means that the person who created them has passed away, and then the copyright time period that kicks off after the person died, that has expired too. So that is the person's life plus like 70 years. And so I found some amazing pieces. So if you guys like these, you can actually download them yourself. I'll put the link and you can have them printed out and you can frame them at home. But I used frames that I got at the thrift store and antique malls. And you know, when I'm just basically outsourcing, I pick up random frames. So I like this one. This is like I feel like one of my big anchor points. It's gonna cover the hole where I have this piece anchored into the wall because I need to hide that. And I'm just using command strips on this because I don't want to nail into this any more than I already have. And so the rest of the art will probably lean. So next I want to use these two pieces, and I'm probably going to put them together. I just like how they look together. And that's one thing I like to do is take art and layer it on each other, because I think it's kind of like a nice combination. And based on where I'm sitting at my table, which is like right here, I want to have a lot of my wow moments like right here. And so that's where I'm going to concentrate some of the art higher up versus down lower on the shelves. So I feel like plants are very important in styling, and shelves like this are a bit tricky because there's no obvious light source, you know, near the shelves. And so they're not going to really like living there. But what I think I'm going to do is just place them in a spot and style around them. And so when I'm shooting, I can take them off the windowsill, put them in, you know, like here, if this is where it decides to live. And then when I'm not shooting, I can put in the back where they belong, where they're happy with the light. Or you can buy something fake. They make a really amazing fake plants now. Okay, so I like that plant there. Now I gotta get in some books, because I feel like books are important because I have to put stuff on books. That's like one of the rules of styling, is you gotta put stuff on books. That's just how it goes. So I'm gonna start kind of getting some books placed around and kind of see how I'm feeling about it. A piece like this, because I have these like narrow shelves here, I don't want to do a ton of styling in them because it's going to get lost because they're so skinny. And plus where I'm sitting at the table, you're not going to see it as much. So I feel like just like a simple piece to fill up the space. I have this piece too that I feel like, even though it's box and box, I don't think it's a big deal. It's just nice that it's like two things filled up, and then it's not a ton of small and small. That's one thing that, you know, I'm always trying to think about, is there's too many of the same types of moments, too many small things. I like to break it up with moments of like calm and just a statement thing. So that's kind of what I'm doing right here. Try not to fill up something that's already narrow to begin with. Okay, so I just kind of just play around. I kind of like that, although that's kind of basket and basket, which I don't usually like to do. I like to have moments that kind of cross. Like if I have a basket here, maybe I'll put like a basket here to kind of balance it out. If I have a brass moment here, I might have a brass moment, you know, down here lower, kind of crisscross. You'll see that as I start to go and place stuff around, kind of what, like the different ways I'm bringing the color and the eye and stuff around. And so that's one thing you'll start to notice as I style around. I also have a ton of brass candlesticks that I thought might look good in like this space because it's so tall. And I'm like, ooh, that could be kind of a fun moment because people know me for brass candlesticks for sure. And I have so many, so I'm like, ooh, that might be fun there. So anyways, I think it's enough talking right now. And I think I'm just gonna get styling, and it's gonna be a time lapse, and you're just gonna see me like doing it super fast. And yeah, hopefully by the end of it, I'll have something amazing to show you. Okay, so I'm liking this moment up here with the little doggies and stuff, and I'll show you guys like a close-up of it because I think it's looking really cute. So yes, I did cut him up. I cut his stick off. I know some of you are gonna be like really gutted about that. This is that dancing stick man, but I really love him styled on a surface, and I can't do that when he has a stick this long in his back. So I can always drill this out and put it in again. So don't worry, he's not ruined forever, but I feel like for styling, way easier like this. Oh my goodness, I think he looks so cute, just leaning against that. So here are some Kakeshi dolls that I pulled from my collection area because I felt like they needed to be represented on the shelf since I'm pretty well known for my collection. course I needed some more of my wicker animals on display. I'm not sure how much of the ones that are on my top shelf will actually show in any footage when I'm shooting here, just because I usually crop in, you know, close to my head. And so I thought, ooh, maybe I should just like put it in this one over here. Just a couple of like my favorite little guys. This one is so cute. The little eyeballs in it. The fact that it has a little bag and purse is adorable. Okay, so they are styled out, I think, sufficiently, but we will never know until I actually sit down in the chair and kind of look at how I look with the backdrops. We have to see. So I'll show you guys how that looks in a minute. But first, I feel like you guys want a close-up of everything that's on these shelves. So I'm gonna do a quick pan around to see kind of how we ended up and where we landed. Okay, so this is the new backdrop for my island. So anytime I'm filming right here, this is what you guys are gonna be looking at. And I think it represents largely me, I feel like, and what I sell, most importantly. So my hand collection, I have whimsical moments, you know, in the hands with the little guy. I have some of my collections represented, like the dogs and the Kakashi dolls. I have brass and gold moments, which obviously you guys know I sell a lot of brass. And yeah, just a nice collection of very textural things with patina, things with life in it, and age, and history. So that's kind of what I wanted represented here. And then of course I have some like green moments. And like I mentioned, those plant friends are going to only live there like right now while I'm filming. And then they will go live on the windowsill again. But yeah, I think it turned out really good. I mean, I'm happy with it considering when I was first doing the project, I literally had to cut the video because I melted down. I was like, I can't do this. And now I am beaming because I feel like I got to a space that makes sense. So really excited about it and how it turned out. And yeah, now I got to get some headshots taken. So I'll be taking my own headshots here for a project that I'm doing. And of course, seeing how it looks, you know, with me in the frame. I want to make sure it makes sense. Like everything that I'm seeing behind me makes sense. The placement makes sense. Because every once in a while when I use a plant, like it's positioned in a way where the plant looks like it's my hair, an extension of my hair. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to keep everything on the shelves more light and bright, because I have dark hair. I wanted to make sure there was enough of a contrast behind me and that people weren't going to be confusing my hair and objects behind me or in pictures. And I wanted to make sure the color palette kind of worked with the natural color palette of the rest of my studio space and me. And anyways, like I said, I'm overthinking it. Overthinking how much it needs to represent me, which I know sounds very silly, but that's a window into my mind when you're trying to intentionally design for a client. In this case, the client is me. I'm the hardest client, the hardest client. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed seeing my studio space transformation in terms of like this area and you know, how I approached it. Maybe you're like, you know what? We don't need to live in that part of your mind. So maybe next time, just show us the before and after, not the process. So let me know if you're like, yikes, too much. But anyways, I always like enjoy having it all come together. It's just such like, aha, yes, I did it moment. Okay, you guys, that is a wrap on today's video. Thank you so much for following along with me as I restyled these shelves. If you're looking for more thrifting and decorating content between my haul videos, make sure you check me out on Instagram. And the artwork that I downloaded for free from the public domain is also linked down below. So if you guys wanted to download it for yourself in your own personal use, and then also check out everything that's available, just head on down to the description box and I have the links. Thanks again for watching, and I can't wait to see you in my next video. Take care.